Hi everyone and welcome back to a new After Effects tutorial. My name is AUDI for asART 3D and motion graphics. Today I would like to show you how to rig and animate a car inside of After Effects using Element 3D. To be able to follow along with this tutorial, please go to our website as-art.ch and navigate to free stuff, free 3D models, and download the Audi R8 model, which is the exact same car I'm using in that tutorial. This original model was coming from free3d.com, submitted by Ahmed Salih, and I just took the same model and prepared it for Element 3D so we can easily rig and animate it. So let me go back to After Effects and start to create a new comp. The size, I'm going to leave it the way it is, 960 by 540, and I'm working on a frame rate of 25, and duration is 250 frames, about 10 seconds. So now the next thing I need is a background, so Control Y to create a new solid. I'm just going to call it background and Control Y again. I'm going to color code that and call that E3D. So then I can add element into that solid and go to the scene setup. Here I'm going to use the same car that you can download. There we go. And I'm going to change the orientation on Y to 180 so it faces just this way. Now here of course you can go and change the materials and everything you wish, but switch to mesh view and hold down Control and click on the first front wheel here, and then hold down Control and Shift and click the second one so we can select them both. Now right click here on one of the selected meshes and go to axillary animation channel 1. So now we're gonna do the same thing for the rear wheels here. Hold down Control and click on the first one, and hold down Control and Shift and click on the second one, and again right click axillary animation channel number 2. So this is actually what we should do, what we have to do to rig the car's wheels for a simple animation. So let me go back and create a new camera. The camera I'm using is actually the After Effects camera, but I'm using the Malty simple camera rig, which is pretty awesome, and it makes the camera usage much easier, and it's a great and fantastic plugin, actually, script, which you can go and purchase on auscripts.com and just type in Malty simple camera rig and get yourself that script. It is pretty awesome and pretty useful. Once you install it, you don't want to miss that, I tell you. So here we are, and let me bring it down a bit. And zoom in so we can see the wheels here. Now I can go to the axillary channels on group 1 and use an expression on rotation for the x-axis on the axillary channel 1 here. So alt click on the stopwatch and type in time times 360, for example, and I can do the same thing for the rear wheels as well. So time times 360. And now when I RAM preview that, that is the way it works. So now I could go and create a null and move the car from A to B and let the wheels just turn around like this. And that would be my animation. Well, we're gonna create such a scene in a while and see what is the problem with using that kind of expressions. But for now, let us focus on the rig itself. So now, when I'm moving the CTI, everything looks okay. But that is good until I go and move straight ahead. So sometimes I have to turn to the left and to the right. So for that, we could actually think to use the AUX-Channels for this as well. So we have the axillary channel Y on the Y-axis, the rotation. And if I rotate it this way, so it looks like normal. But when I turn that and RAM preview, that is actually what happens. So it goes crazy. And that is wrong because we are animating two axes on the same anchor point, and this is why that happens. So we can't use this. What we can do is combining multi-object feature with auxiliary channels. So let me turn on multi-object here. Now when I turn the stuff on the y-axis, you see the whole thing falls apart. But for now, just let us focus on that wheel. The wheel is turned now, right? So it is not straight. That would be the straight. And now it is turning. But when I go and RAM preview, it stays in place. So using multi-object feature would actually be the solution. But we have to fix the car so only the front wheels are affected by multi-object. So let me go back to the scene setup to do that. For this, we're gonna select the car itself and then go to advanced settings and turn off enable multi-object. That means whatever changes I do in the multi-object section in my element, nothing will affect this car now because the multi-object function is turned off. So let me check this. Click on OK. Now we're gonna change the same value on y-axis for rotation and nothing changes. So this is what happens when we turn it off. But it should go and affect the front wheels. So let us go back to the settings and let us select the front wheel of the car and set the multi-object settings for this wheel only to on instead of inherit. Inherit means it will use the same settings as the main, and we can change it here. So and say we want that and this one to be on when we are using the multi-object feature. But everything else is on inherit, so it will stay off the way it is set here. So let me go back, and when I change this value right here, it only affects the front wheels. So in this way you can animate a car going around the corner while the wheels are moving. So this is fixed as well. And the next thing I would love to be able to control is the body roll itself. So right now we didn't define any part of the cars except of the wheels, so we can't animate anything else. So we have to go back to element and set all the rest to another axillary channel, so we can use that and go and animate the body roll. So let me go down, and before I'm gonna select all the parts that I want to set on another axillary channel, I'm gonna select the stuff I don't want to change. So that is my wheels and the axis. I don't want them to be changed, so I'm gonna hide them for now, and then hold down shift and select everything else which is not hidden. So this thing I'm gonna select because that is just a car emblem, so I know why it is hidden. It is not because of I don't have to change it, it is I don't want to see it, but I have to change the axillary channel on that one too. So now everything is selected except of the stuff I don't want to change, and now right click and set them to axillary channel number 10 and turn on the rest which we turned off. So now in this way everything else is on axillary channel number 10 except of the wheels and the axis. So that would allow us to go and do some movements with the car body, and let us test it. Let me go to my camera settings and zoom back a bit and turn the camera this way. So we go to the auxiliary channel number 10 and try to tilt the car body. So when it goes around the corner or when it slides and everything, you have to be able to tilt it like this. Okay, so that moves. Not bad. But when I overdo that, so something is wrong here. Something is wrong because you see here the glasses are coming off the frame and they shouldn't be, and here the grill is also coming off somewhat, so this is wrong. So let me go and set it back to 0, and when I move that on x-axis it's even worse. Well, this happens because now every single mesh is turning on its own anchor point, and the anchor point of each one is set just in the center of that mesh. So this is why that happens. When I turn it like this, everything turns on its own center. So that is the problem. And we can fix that inside of Element 3D. So what we have to do is going back to the scene setup and again select everything we don't want to change. So go and control click the wheels, shift control and click to select multiple objects, and then select the axis as well. So now I hide them again and control click on the car body, and the car body's anchor point should be the same for everything else as well. So now when I click on something else like the mirror frames and stuff, you see the anchor point here is still on 0, and the same is for the body as well. So just copying and pasting that will not solve any problem. So instead we have to copy the actual anchor point position which is actually the world position of it, not the local position. And for this we can go and right click and say copy special and go and select the next part that we want the anchor point moved, and right click here and go to paste. So it moves the anchor point directly to the same point as the car body. And we're going to do that with all the other parts of the car as well. So I'm going to select them and just paste the value. I'm using my arrow keys to select my layers or meshes here in the list. This way it is faster to work with. And again, skip everything which is not enabled. Sorry. So now everything has the same position for the anchor point, and this is what will solve the issue and our problem with the body roll we had. So let's go and take a look. So now when I move that on X rotation, everything is in place and moves together. And the same for the z-axis. So nothing is falling apart and everything works perfect. So now we did everything with the rigging, and the next thing would be animating the car and making it look good while it is moving. Now to animate the car, I'm going to use a null, and then I'm going to use an expression which allows me to match the speed of my wheels to the speed of the car itself. But before I do so, I'm going to create a simple scene so we have something to look at inside of element right here. And for that, I'm going to use some items from our street signs pack, which you also can go and download from our websites for free. So if you install that, you're going to have the bonus section here. And in this bonus folder, there is a street already created, ready to go. What I will do is scale it on x-axis about 300%, so we have enough room. You can also go to the materials here, to the UV maps, and change this number to 10, so you have better looking lines or longer lines here on the street. So we go and create a ground for this as well. Should have something here, and put that to minus 0.01, so it's not overlapping with my road. We go and change the size here a little bit to something around 10,000, so we have enough room. And actually this is it for now. That should do the job. So what I can do is go and separate the car in a new folder, bring out this folder and just rename that so I see what it is, and set the ground stuff to group number 5 and the car on group number 1. Press OK. So now we have a road and something here we can work with. Now let me go to my group number 1, group utilities, and create a null for my car. I'm going to rename that to car null, and going to rotate my camera. So zoom in a bit, and maybe something like this. So right now, when I ramp preview or move my CTI, you will see the wheels are still turning because we still have the expressions going on here. Select the parameters you want to work on and press SS to solo them. So we only see these values. Now if I open them, you can see the expressions we have. Well, this is why it turns the wheels. Well, that is helpful sometimes. So if you have a car passing by your camera, well, then you can use that expression, that simple expression, to create kind of illusion of turning wheels. So let me show you what I mean. So we set the position to about 3000, and I move that to the 50 frames mark, which is about 2 seconds, and put that to minus 3000. So it passes by. So the car comes and goes away. Okay, for that kind of animations that may work because it is fast enough, you don't see the wheels really turning and so on. So, but if you go a little bit slower, and sometimes you will see that your car is kind of sliding on the road, so it is not the actual speed it should have, and matching that with this expression could be a pain. What we can do is use another expression which was given to me by Malty. And if you have any questions about expressions, if you want to learn expressions and you want to know how to use them in a good way in After Effects and so on, I really recommend you to go online and visit Malty's Facebook. You can ask him some questions here, but he's giving online courses which I recommend you to go and visit them. They are really great, and you're gonna find a lot of useful and helpful expressions for After Effects. It's making your life easier sometimes. Right now I'm gonna use this one which he gave me, and this expression will make it possible to match the rotation of the wheels related to the speed of our car itself. So let me show you what that means. I'm going to bring up the expressions again and scroll down to the channel 1 and channel 2, the axillary channels we have, and just replace this one with my new expression. So we have to change some stuff here. The first thing is you'll see name of your null here. So That means we have to put in the name of the car null we actually created right before, and we called it car null, so this is what we're going to use. And the number 250 is the diameter of the car wheels. So the bigger they are, the higher this number, the smaller the diameter, the lower this number actually. So I just found out 90 is a good value to work with for this car. So I'm going to change that to 90, and everything else we actually can leave the way it is. But I'm going to highlight it, copy that, and paste it to the next one as well. Now, when I move the car itself just by using these two keyframes, it will move the wheels automatically with it, which is great. Right now it is passing by and we can't see the real benefit of it, but let me go and stop the car somewhere right here and maybe slow it down and bring it to 0 instead of minus 3000 and ease out the last keyframe so it goes slowly to the stopping point. Maybe bring it closer to the camera. But what I see right now is just, you see the wheels are turning in the wrong direction. So when I go forward, they should turn the other way around and not in this way. So we can fix it. Just go back to the expression and type in times minus 1. And the same for the next thing as well. So times minus 1. Now when we go and move this, it moves it with it related to the speed of the car, which is pretty fantastic. So when the car comes to a stopping point, the wheels stop automatically. Let me ramp preview there for you so we can see. It's still too fast to see what happens, so we bring that value down to 1000 so we don't have a long distance to go. And this way they will turn slower, I hope. Okay, let me slow it down a lot, like this maybe, so we can see much better what's going on. That should do the job. There we go. Okay, now the wheels are turning related to the exact speed of the car itself, which is more realistic. Okay, now let us go and do some body roll, actually shock illusions, or shocks illusions. Means when the car comes down to stop, the nose goes down actually a bit. So, and we set that to our axillary channel number 10. And the x-axis, which we can rotate, will give us the possibility to animate the car and let it look like the shocks are working when we stop. So I'm gonna create a keyframe right here and bring it forward to this point. And let's say here it goes down a bit. And then we go back to the stopping point. point where it goes up. And then we move a bit forward and bring it back to 0. Let me press U to see my keyframes, and then I'm gonna select these middle two, hold down Control and click on them so they smooth it out, and then select the last one, Shift F9 to ease out the last keyframe here. And I guess this should work, so let's see what that looks like. So the car comes, stops, yeah. Need some refining, maybe a little slower there, something like that. So you get the idea, and the rest is depending on your finesse, how to animate it in a cool way when it comes down to stopping and so on. Though it needs a little bit of refinement, of course. And the next thing you can do is also go and use the multi-object feature that we actually set up for the wheels to turn them. So for example, we're gonna start it here, and let me move the car to this side. And then bring it to a point somewhere. So now it is sliding like this. So when I go, it goes just slides to that point. So I don't want to do this. I want it to be there at the end. Okay. Then I'm gonna switch to my top view here and turn on my helpers and select my car null. Pick the last keyframe here, sorry, the first, and bring down this handle so we make a curve, and we do the same thing around here. So let me move forward, car is coming along the path. Well, what is not happening now is just the car is not going really with the path here. To fix this, select the car null and then right click, go to transform, auto orient along path, and click on OK. Well, as you see, it turns the car's direction as well, so it faces now to the wrong direction. So to fix this, select the car null again, Shift R, and set the orientation on y-axis to 180, so it will face in this direction again. But now if you look at the null, it will go along the path and moves the car with it. Okay, let me switch to the active camera view, see what we got so far. So this is what happens. Okay, now we're gonna use our multi-object feature and set a keyframe for the Y rotation, which is affecting the front wheels only, and move forward a bit to this point maybe, and turn the wheels in that direction. And when it comes to here, they will go this way. And stop. So this way you can simulate the car rotation or the wheels rotation on y-axis without any big troubles and issues. So RAM preview. And that all works. So this is it for today, guys. I hope this tutorial was useful to you, and please make sure you help us to grow by subscribing our YouTube channel, where you can find a lot of our videos, experimental works, and also After Effects tutorials. We appreciate it, and wishing you a great and successful day.